Hello, everybody, and welcome back to G4G Games for Gamers. Today we are here in Marvel Avengers Alliance, and we are going to wrap up this week in August. So, this week here in MAA, let's take a look at what we're dealing with since it has been quite a busy week. So, in the last video that we had here on Marvel Avengers Alliance, we saw that the PvP Season Alpha, aka Spring Training, aka the Preseason, is live. There is going to be Alpha, which is this one, and Beta. So we have 10 more days left in PvP Alpha. Then we will have the Beta. And then we will have the Karnak PvP Season. So, what do we have here? What are we looking at? Well, we dealt with it in the last video, but this is PvP. Defending way, way, way down and still getting the wins. This one, I will say, this battle was really, really, really good. Had this today. I had done my 5. I just felt like, getting some more wins because, I got to get the attacks to rank up, and I went against this guy with the Mystic, the Cube, the Warbringer, the Neurotrope. I took out his agent pretty early, and I was facing a World War Hulk and a Quicksilver. And there is his Hulk, and his Quicksilver's around here somewhere. And it was my X-Force Tactical Psylocke and my X-Force Angel, and I will be damned if it didn't come down to Psylocke and the Hulk. It was the only 2 people left on the field, and through judicious use of Mark of the Brotherhood, I set her up for some quick actions, and she was able to quick action and shield and attack all in the same round, and I just got really, really lucky. My X-Force Angel got knocked out stupidly early, and that sucked because then that got rid of Fatal Blow on Psylocke. And so yeah, this is what I was dealing with. The guy's got a pretty stacked armory, and there's his attack bonus at 20, and his defensive team is a flat 15-15. So he was a reasonable challenge, and as you can see, it's reflected. But other than that, what? What are you loading? Oh, okay. Everything else has been, like, kind of sad over here. Like, let's look at this guy's Sorcerer. There are some people with these ISOs in their gears, like, oh god, it makes you cry. Like this. Oh, this is the team. Yeah, the Rad Sniffer team. I mean, talk about throwing your defense. Holy crap. I think this was an old She-Hulk and a Luke Cage. I mean, Rad Sniffer, the Spirit, the Tactician Enhancer, which actually isn't that old, and the friggin' Rough Riding Rifle. I mean, wow, talking about pitching one in there. And who else was pretty scary over here? There was just some people with, like, old ass ISOs and everything. Was it this guy? Oh yeah, I think it was this guy. No, but there was somebody who had like 3 ISO slots and some gear over there. It was just, oh boy, it was ridiculous. So that's what we're dealing with now. Still my offensive team, still my defensive team. I guess they're getting it done. They're not really facing a lot. So what else is new is that we have the Rocket Raccoon Simulator challenges. So now we can get that punch and get the Guardians of the Galaxy card. So, you have a solo fight, which is a bruiser. Tailor-made for Rocket Raccoon. Pretty simple. You have multiple enemies, which was a bruiser and a tactician. I used the level 2 on the bruiser, and then I reloaded, and I think I did the pyrophoric with the nimble. The bruiser was dead, and then I don't know, I think I plowied the tactician. This was pretty simple. This one, with the regenerating power armor, there is a thread on the wiki where some people have relayed their experiences with it. I hadn't read that at the time that I had done mine, so this guy regenerates, and it's a lot like the Drax one. So what I did is I opened up with level 2 to expose his armor, melt it, and then I did a level 1, and I reloaded. In round 2, I did his level 3 to get the nimble, which, it says stay nimble over here. Oh, actually, no. I take that back. I did still do the level 6, but it wasn't because of that. I just wanted to get the pyrophoric chaining, and I reloaded, did the level 1, reloaded, and then I finished it off with Acre Plowy. So I had to go at like essentially 4 rounds. Another guy who had a level 13 Rocket Raccoon said he just reloaded and went with the Kaplawi, and it worked. So I still have the Stay Nimble with the hazards, and then I have the final one, which is the multiple waves, and some people have had issues with this. My Rocket Raccoon is a level 13. He is kitted out, so I don't really think I'll have too much issue, but I'll show you what I was running with him. I have the radiation poisoning ISO usually slotted in here, but it's currently on X-Angel for use with PvP. Skull Thumper, I really can toss it out after the first couple. I didn't stun anybody. They weren't relentless, but I figured, hey, why not? And I have the Unavoidable over here. Once I dump Skull Thumper, what would I do? Well, I'm going to treat it like Drax, and I'm going to slot in the Recover. I'm going to do this because his reload is a buff action, so it counts. Well, no, I'm sorry, that's the rest one. Where are you? There it is, the Sympathetic. Buff abilities grant a small HP boost. Bang. Actually, I should put it in right now because I'm not using that Drax suit anymore. Ta-da! There we go. So this is how I'm going to attack the rest of the simulator challenges there. So there's new items in the store also, and we have a gold sale. So let's touch upon that. First thing I want to do is we'll pop over to the ISOs, we'll pop over to the blaster ones. What else is going to work? Well, collateral damage could work, because if you do the level 2 you can still hit things, but it's 20 gold, so if you don't have it already, it might be a stretch to use that for Rocket Raccoon. There is of course the one persisting. Attacks will no longer crit, but instead have a high chance to apply radiation exposure. Well, that's going to be on my level 1 anyway. Probably wouldn't do this if I could help it. And I don't know that there's a stun in those later waves, but you could maybe put the Unavoidable. Obviously, nothing melee is going to work. He doesn't use magic. We've already talked about the Sympathetic. Ranged attacks have a higher chance to critically hit. Yeah, kind of expensive for CPs. If you have one hanging around, that might not be too bad. And maybe if you start running low on stamina, the Sheltered might not be too bad, or the Recovering. So you have some options. Obviously, just make him live. That's all you really need to do. Lower the offense and go ahead and let him live. So, what are we dealing with in terms of uniforms this week? Well, we have Guardian Drax and we have Guardian Rocket Raccoon. Guardian Drax over here says that all of the Guardians of the Galaxy using the uniforms apply hemorrhaging. So if the target is bleeding, you can make them hemorrhage if you are using a movie suit. Well, we only have 2 right now. We have Drax, and you're going to have Rocket Raccoon. So what does Rocket Raccoon have? Well, he looks a little more raccoonish and a little less foxy. I always call this guy Meth Fox, because, I mean, the red beady eyes, the extremely aggressive, pissed-off looking snout, and he goes over and he becomes a little bit more raccoony, more neutral, muted colors. I like him. I think it is a better sprite. And as somebody said, he doesn't look like a midget bellhop anymore. The tail has been redone. That looks very, very cartoony there at the end, and this looks considerably more natural. I mean, this really looks like anthropomorphic raccoon. So, what does he gain? Well, he says that all Guardians using the suit are guaranteed to have critical hits, including himself. That means, put two and two together in your beady little brains, you can run him as a generalist and get a blaster bonus. So, if you're going to say, hey, G for G, what am I going to pick if I can only get one of these? Really? The answer is generalist. He's a blaster, naturally, and he's a blaster in the suit, and he's a generalist in the suit. You don't need the blaster suit. There's no point to it. He's gonna gain crits either way. I mean, it's almost retarded to have it, but I understand what they're doing. Um, and you may say, well, what about the bonuses? What about PvP bonuses? Generalists kind of suck for that. Yeah, simple. If you have Rocket Raccoon, when you're not using him, leave him in his blaster suit. When you do use him in his generalist suit. The only possible problem is if you are a complete lazy bucket of slime that you want to use Rocket Raccoon and you don't constantly want to put him back in his blaster when you're not using him. Honestly, now that he's a generalist, you could see an extreme explosion of Rocket Raccoons. It's dangerous with the Shiv hanging around there, the Raft Shank, and Hiroge Giant Fist, because he's probably going to catch a lot of five-finger death punch to the fucking face. Um, so that is risky. But he has tremendous synergy with counters. Union Jack, Omega Sentinel with a couple of other... well, not necessarily Omega Sentinel, but more on that. He's just got a lot of synergy with counterattacks, and now that he's a generalist, you get rid of that tactician bonus against him. You can even make a defensive team with him now, because you don't have to worry about your blaster being a giant tactician black hole sucker. I mean, this guy's perfect. Now, they fixed him. How did they fix him? Well, quick actions were not initially able to gain class benefits. There's an easy way to go see that. Go to Groot, uses level 2 on a scrapper. Whap whap, you get nothing. Use a normal ability and you gain your bonus. Well, they had to fix Rocket Raccoon to do that, so now anytime he does one of his moves, he gains an extra turn. And in that extra turn, you can do whatever you want until the ammo runs out, and then up pops the reload, or you can force reload by going to the recharge, and it pops up from a quick action, a multifunction there. So now he can actually crit bruisers the way he's supposed to. As a generalist, with this suit, he's going to crit him anyway, so there is probably no reason to get the blaster uniform unless you're just so lazy. It's just so hard for you to sit there and constantly switch him back and forth. So, what is he going to have synergy with? Well, honestly, when I get that outfit, and I'm going to do a video on this because I think it'll be sexy, suitless, I guess you could say, but movie alt Drax, movie alt Rocket Raccoon, and way back here on the Agent, the Integrated Intelligence set. So, how is this going to work? Well, if you were lucky enough to get all of the pieces of it, here's what I think really works with those two particular characters. And it's even going to work on defense. Cufflink becomes a quick action. So, every round, you have a chance to gain Rising Up, and you get a shield. The calculated response at 3 pieces causes a counterattack. See down there, disadvantage 3 of 4? That is actually considered a counter. You are applying a debuff to the person who hits you that runs counter to what their class are. You're going to exhaust tacticians. You're going to stop follow-ups on scrappers. You're going to stop retaliations on infiltrators. You're going to stop enrages on bruisers. Crits on blasters. So that disadvantage, when it procs, Rocket Raccoon considers it a counter and will jump in. Pretty nice, huh? So, the Sentinels over here work perfectly for Drax and Rocket Raccoon and the buffs that they give each other, especially if you are running the Guardian Insignia. So what could you take out to run the Guardian Insignia? Well, you could actually take out the Cufflink, and you will still get everything except for the Hijack Nimrods, the Predictive Systems, which is like being Taskmaster, or the Gauntlet Caress when it was fully buffed, and your Master Key drops Fiery. That's not too bad, but let's say you don't have the Guardian badge yet. Calculated Response gets Rocket Raccoon going, and a 404 0-day puts Static Charge out, Pyrophoric, and then Hijack Nimrods apply the Fatal and the Brutal Strike, but at a level 1 0-day, you get Bleeding. So you have Bleeding to work with Drax, and you have Pyrophoric and Static Charge. So that means if you go relatively early in combat and you're running a tactical suit, you're going to Cufflink and you're going to 0-day. That means everybody on the other side, if there's no Mystic and aren't as Guardian, but whatever on that, they're going to be Bleeding, they're going to have Static Charge, and they're going to have Pyrophoric. Rocket Raccoon and his ability to counter will be causing hemorrhaging every time he attacks. So let's take a standard PvP situation. Alright, let's say you were fighting Deadpool and Psylocke. Your agent goes first, out goes the Sentinels, the whole team is bleeding, they're on fire, they have Static Charge. Deadpool will be stealthy. Yeah, that's actually a bad example. He'll be stealthy. Let's say it's Deadpool and Cable. Deadpool attacks your agent. You're going to retaliate with the Calculated Response. Rocket Raccoon will jump in with his level 1. He will be applying Radiation Sickness, and he will make the whole team hemorrhage out right then and there. And he'll be chaining Pyrophoric. That is a huge amount of damage for free. And I'm really going to be interested in doing that team up in a video, so definitely stay tuned here on G4G for Guardian Rocket, Guardian Drax, and the integrated intelligence set. I think it will be fantastic. So let's wrap it up with the new items in the store and the gold item. Let's come back to the store and let's take a look at the gold item over here. No, I don't want to purchase. No, okay, so let's mouse over this. Alright. You have Grim Bargain. Applies certain debuffs that afflict the character. ISO Corruption, Poisoned, Radiation Exposure, and Burning. Now, I think it's implying that it will always apply the ISO Corruption and that it may apply the others. I'm not seeing what it considers. You know, gray usually means that it needs something to proc it, but the top end on this is a little weak, but those debuffs are pretty solid. So let's take a look at what's in the store. And in case you didn't notice, it's actually, misclicking, it's actually the items from the second Spec Ops in the game, just not the set. You have the Mind Killer, one enemy, medium top end damage, no cooldown, 4 hits, ranged gun and energy, exploits weakness, and causes weak mind. Not too bad. You have the Ankle Biter, not to be confused with the Hobnail. This kind of looks like my cat's rear legs. Unarmed melee, slashing, and a debuff. Decent top end damage for a melee weapon, fairly close to the Mind Killer. Except the low end is a lot lower. Has a chance to do a follow-up attack, True Strike. It removes buffs and it causes bleeding. So this is pretty solid. I could see some people using this. The Lightning Rod. This is what Daddy wrote home about. One enemy, nice top end damage. It's electric and it's tech. It exploits chill, exploits flying, 100% chance to hit, and a trigger static charge. So, if you don't have the master key, this actually works fairly well with the integrated intelligence set. Or Storm, Thor, um, exploits chill, so like Iceman and again Stormed. You have the Skull Ripper, which is all enemies, low damage, one hit from what I can see here. It doesn't say multiple. Deadly crits, it exploits migraine, and it causes weak mind. This works really, really well with Emma. If you get that migraine one in her AoE, that's pretty solid. Cat's Claw is old. We have the Mutant's End. Follow-up attack. Insulator reduces energy attacks and an increased chance to critically hit mutants at a somewhat decent top end. And the Experiment. All allies, 2-round cooldown, it's buff, so that means it's a quick action with Snappy, but it's a quick action anyway. Deep Thought, attacking any of your heroes, costs extra stamina. Mental Clarity removes harmful psychic statuses, which would be, I guess, like Weak Mind, Migraine. I'm not too sure what others would count for that. And Mental Resilience, a chance to block the psychic attacks and take less damage from them. So you kind of turn into Magneto, Juggernaut. The Sonic Fist, which, God, if you don't have like 52 of these in your inventory, I don't know where you've been. And just to kind of show you something interesting over here, in terms of the Mutant End, if I go all the way back here to my agent, and I go all the way over here to page 16, page 17, come back a few, bam, a level 52 Mutant's End, a level 42 Sonic Fist. I mean, I think I have a Sonic Fist on like almost every single page of my armory. And there's that lovely monstrosity, which means you can't be stunned, and all enemies are intimidated. Unfortunately, it's just debuff and tech, so if you use that, you lose a round. There's an old Phoenix Pinion. And one of the things that I happen to be the most proud of for having the X-Ray Exploiter. Ridiculous cooldown at 4 rounds, but it's a quick action, everybody's blinded, and everybody is staggered. I should friggin' use that with Groot, because for Gigantic Tree, he cannot hit the broadside of a barn for some particular reason. So, yep, there we go. There is the week in MAA, Marvel Avengers Alliance, here on G4G. So, I wish everybody luck farming the things that they're going for, including the end of the Spec Ops over here. We have the Combat Communicator, which honestly, so far in PvE, Combat Recon has had mild success. You have the Blink Boots, 20% chance to avoid melee and ranged attacks and go phased. And then over here, what I'm hoping to get, the Galactic Crusher and the Mort Laser Rifle, which just seems like Rocket Raccoon on a stick. So, wish everybody luck here in this waning week and a few days of the Guardians of the Galaxy Spec Ops, and stay tuned for the Rocket Raccoon new outfit and hopefully a few team-ups with him. Take care, everybody.